Good morning, friends. Welcome back to the homestead. I was thinking I was going to get on the roof first thing this morning on this cottage behind me, but I realized I need to finish the doors so they will close and stay latched, that kind of thing. So in doing that, I need to put on a couple of door stiffening braces, they call them. I also need to run some screws in the door from the back side. There's siding trim on the doors, and it's just stapled on when they built the doors. So they want you to run 3/4 inch screws from the back to make sure that that's all secure. So we need to get that done. We need to get the door stiffening braces on. We need the top and bottom door pins for the stationary door. And then we need to put the hardware on it as well. And the windows. We got to put the windows in. Not too worried about the trim at this moment. I just need to get all of the other stuff done to make it more secure. So when we leave, I don't have to prop something up against the doors to keep them closed. Once we get all that done, then we'll look at the time and see if I'm going to have enough time to do the roof today, and we'll move on from there. So let's get started. This is the stiffening brace we're going to use for the stationary door, and it requires a 3/4 inch offset. In other words, it's going to hang out past the door 3/4 of an inch. The reason for that is that door will pin top and bottom and hold it in place, and the stiffening brace will also be used as the backstop for the door, the regular entrance door. Now when I say stationary door, I don't mean it's stationary permanently, unless we decide to do that later, but right now it'll be stationary because of the drop pins. If we need to open it, we just pull the pins and it'll open as well, which would be good, especially if we're going to wind up putting a bed in it for a cottage or something like that. So anyway, I need to measure and mark the 3/4 inch on this. I need the 2-inch screws and my impact drill. Then I can put this on. One thing I've encountered over doing all of these cottages is that if I put the stationary brace too far down on either side, because of the humidity here and the rain and that kind of stuff, the wood swells. So if I put it too close, and then I put the door sill on, and we put carpet and that kind of stuff, the door will hang up on the sill. So I've got to make sure I keep it off the ground far enough to clear, and yet not so far as the drop pin won't mount correctly and go into the floor and the header overhead. So let's get to that. This wood may not swell much more than it already has. It's very damp outside, and the wood's just damp from the humidity. The pencil hardly writes on it at all. Okay, well that's that one. I'm going to go get a couple of clamps. This next one obviously can't go flush with the edge of the door. It has to go inset a little bit because of the offset on the brace we just put on. So I'm going to go get my clamps. I'll be right back. Alright, I've got my clamps. Let's figure out where that needs to go and clamp it on. Then we'll screw it on. Okay, that's where it needs to live. I'm already seeing a problem here. The stiffening brace hangs over the window opening. The windows go on from the inside on this one. That could be a problem. I better look at the plans, make sure I'm doing this in the right order. Quick look at the plans made me realize, no, I'm not doing this in the right order. Sad, which means I'm going to have to take this brace off, maybe. The other one for sure. That answers that. The window won't fit in the hole. So yes, I'm going to have to take this brace back off, or at least loose. There, loose enough to pull it out of the way, but I don't have to take it off. Easier that way. Okay, I'm not putting a screw here because this stiffening brace will hold the window. Okay, you can't see it probably from there, but the screws came through the wood behind me to the outside. It's okay. There's a piece of trim that goes right there that I don't have handy, so I'm just going to leave the screws like that for now. Then we'll get the trim and put it on. I may have to drill some extra holes in the metal frame around the window to attach the trim, but that's okay too. Putting the window on top of the screws for the trim tends to warp the frame, so this way I'll just go through the frame. It'll be fine. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. On to the other one. I'm going to go ahead and run that first screw in down on the bottom so I can take the top screw out and then do like I did to this one and just move it out of the way. And I forgot to move the camera, so you may not have saw that. Sorry. So what happened was the screw broke off. It had to drill through the metal frame of the window, which is no problem, we went right through it. But it broke off in the wood area, and I don't have the stiffening brace in the right place, so the door won't shut. It's off by a 1/16 of an inch. So I guess I'm going to have to take the window out with the stiffening brace to get the screw out to start over. Good times. Okay, it's not pretty, but it is what it is. And unfortunately, there's now a hole in the front of the door that I'm going to have to, well, maybe not. Maybe I can reuse that hole. I'll think about that one. I'll have to see how it goes. I'm going to go ahead and put the window up. Yes, the caulking's kind of a mess, but hopefully it'll work. I don't think I have any more on hand, so I'm going to put the window back in, and then we'll put the stiffening brace back on. Hopefully in the right place this time. Okay, I'm going to have to realign the stiffening brace to make sure that it's in the right spot. Clamp it again. It's not going to be as easy to clamp this time because I've got the window in there, but that's okay. Got to do something to make sure that it stays in the right spot. Maybe I'll put it in there and then draw a line. That might be a better idea. And I'm going to go with that. Cross my fingers. Okay, that's a good spot. I recommend the nails, the screws every 11 inches, which is an interesting number. So that's why I marked the other one before I put the screws in. Just kind of sticking with the plans. Lost my pencil. This is the spring-loaded drop pin. This is the hardware that comes with it. These nice little brass anodized screws. I have found that these things just break off, so I'm not going to use those. I'm going to use the 3/4 inch wood screws to hold this in place. Now it is pretty, but I don't know. These are just kind of junky. There's nothing like drilling it in, getting it almost all the way, and then have the head snap off. It's a pain. Some of the hardware that comes with these kits, the screws especially, are not the best. Not the highest grade quality anyway, and you have to be very careful. So I'm just going to use the regular 3/4 inch wood screws to hold these in. I've done it on all of the other cottages. It works just fine. Doesn't look that bad. You really can't see it. Everything's kind of in the way as far as the mechanism goes. So that's what I'm going to do. I do need to go get my drill and some drill bits because I'm going to need that even more when it comes time to the hardware for the door lock. So I'll go do that now. All right. Well, while I was over getting the hardware for the door, I went ahead and grabbed 2 of the trim pieces for the door, so I can go just put them in place now and not have to worry about it later. It's just easier that way, I think. It only takes a couple of minutes, so let's get these on and we'll get the other stuff in. Okay, that's better. I didn't like the way they lined up. They didn't line up very good. The windows are off just a hair due to the way they're cut out, I guess, because the doors are pretty flush, pretty even. But fudge the trim a little bit and it doesn't look so bad. Anyway, now I need to put the drop pins, the upper lower drop pins in place. The way I'll do that is I will mount them on the door or on the stiffening brace. Yes, on the stiffening brace. And then I will take a hammer and hit it, and that will leave a mark on the header and the floor below. That will tell me where I need to drill the 3/8 hole for these pins to reside. I want them a little bit on the snug side so that it doesn't rattle, but not too snug because we're going to probably want to put some weather strip in there at some point. Putting a little graphite from the pencil on the top of the pin, so when I hit it, hopefully it'll leave a mark. Okay, that worked. Okay, good news. I'm just marking the edge of the stiffening brace so I know not to drill too close to the edge when I mount the hardware, and then the height I want the hardware to be. They asked for 35 3/4, so that's, might as well put it there. Seems like a good height. They want you to drill a 1/4 inch pilot hole and then a 3/8 inch final hole. I have found that sometimes I need to wallow that out a little bit or put a little bit bigger drill bit in. only because it's almost impossible to get it level and on plane without some kind of jig to do that. I don't have that. I just have my eyeballs. They're kind of crooked anyway, so I'll just do what I've always done. See what I mean? 3/8 just doesn't cut it. When you're installing these type of handles on a door, you want to make sure that when it's in the lock position, that the handle is in line with where the screws go. Because if the lock condition is this way and the screws are here and here, anybody can loosen those screws from the outside. Now, you still technically can't get in because there's a piece clamped on the back, but it just makes sense that when it's in the lock position, it should be this way. Just saying. Okay, this is the lock. It's also a handle so you can open it from the inside. It goes on like that. There's a grub screw. Not sure if you can see it, but there is one. They give you an Allen wrench to tighten it up. It's super simple. Goodness gracious. They put blue Loctite on this grub screw so that it won't back out. It's a great idea, except that when they ran this grub screw in, they ran it into the blue Loctite. So now I'm having troubles getting it to go all the way in. I'm not sure it's the Loctite causing the problem. They may not have got it threaded all the way. When you encounter that, you want to make sure that you run it in until it's tight, back it out, run it in. It'll go up a little bit each time, so just every time it gets tight, then back it out. Then run it in some more, and then back it out. I got it in there far enough, I think the screw will tighten up fine now. That may have to be adjusted in a little while after using it, because it will wear the wood in that's around this mechanism here as it goes up and down and going in and out of the building. So if it gets loose, it's not a problem now. We've worn most of the Loctite off of it to just back it out, snug it up, and tighten it up again. Regular maintenance, kind of stuff you would do on your house anyway. So that's that. That's the lock mechanism. It's installed, and there's all the trim pieces on the outside. I probably told you earlier, but maybe not. But all the little trim pieces on the outside, all the way around the door, are just stapled on. They want you to run 3/4 inch wood screws from the back into those to pull them tight and make sure that they don't go anywhere. So we're going to do that now.